Now, the battle for the ANC leadership here in Gauteng is heating up. Its elective conference kicking off in Benoni today. Now, the provincial party says it is ready to hold the hotly contested conference despite the outstanding disputes. The Education MEC, Panyaza Lesufi, and the Cooperative Governance MEC, Lebogang Maile, will go head-to-head for the position of provincial chairperson. In studio with me now is Ziyanda Ngcobo, our politics reporter, who's going to put us into the picture about how, Ziyanda, this whole thing is going to play out. And a part of me wants to ask you the question about whether South Africans should even be faintly concerned about who's going to lead the ANC in Gauteng when we are seized with the issue of ensuring that the processing of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry report is uppermost in the minds of South Africans. Why should we be concerned?
Well, I think South Africans should be concerned about Gauteng just simply because this is the economic hub of the province, of the country, I should say. And if you take it back to the civil unrest that, affected parts of Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal, it was up to the political leadership in both these provinces to take hold of dealing with these issues. So even when you talk about the processing of the state capture report, if you listened carefully to what Chief Justice Raymond Zondo said, he said he doesn't want to give the impression that the report will be a safeguard against any future possible state capture. So what does this mean then? It means that the way in which the Gauteng ANC conducts itself over the next couple of days will also be able to tell the citizen whether or not they have the capacity to lead, what ideas do they have beyond just speaking about certain people. But if we are talking about certain personalities, let's unpack their CVs, let's unpack what they've managed to achieve within the various portfolios that they've occupied. So you have, for an example, Lebogang Maile, who's the Cooperative Governance MEC, a critical portfolio for a province such as Gauteng. Equally important is Gauteng Education MEC, Panyaza Lesufi, where there's always that crisis when there's school admissions, but also, there's a moving target. Gauteng is one of those provinces, when it comes to providing services, they will always tell you that they have a moving target because they have such a huge influx of people coming into the province. So with 2024 in mind, with just the elective conference in December, paying attention to this conference will be very critical, especially in finding out the kind of leadership core they plan to install.
Yeah, and I like the element you use about let's look into the CVs of these people. What is it that they have done, and do they possess credentials that could change the lives of the people of this province? And so, if we start with Lebogang Maile, his portfolio has to do with, in part, the smooth running of the municipalities. And if we are to look at the state of municipalities in Gauteng, yes, one metro has gotten a clean audit, that's Ekurhuleni, but the other important element, Ziyanda, we have a missing child who has been missing. It's day 11 today, and it speaks to the state of municipalities, in particular the areas like the townships. That's where things are really falling apart. Can we say that his work has been done to the satisfaction of the residents of this province?
So you could look at it in two ways, right? So you could look at it from the perspective of an ANC member who will tell you that a lot of the municipalities were lost as a result of the recent local government elections, and perhaps that's as a result of the lack of management by their deployed government in the form of Lebogang Maile. You'll remember when he decided to place the Ntshwane under administration, that went to court. He lost in court. It went all the way up to the Constitutional Court, if I remember correctly. You also have municipalities like Mfuleni, which have been in perpetual crisis. And if I'm not mistaken, correct correct me if I'm wrong, but this is also a municipality that was involved in depositing money to VBS. And so when we talk about processing the state capture report, when we talk about municipalities, which are the coal face of service delivery, where citizens get to really feel then bear the fruits of their votes and what they decided to do with their vote, that becomes critical. But then you also have Panyaza Lesufi, who for the longest time was seen as a media darling up until that scandal with the education department and the cleaning of the schools. The sanitizing of schools worth hundreds of millions of rands. So are we talking about the culture of corruption within the ANC? Can an individual strong man come and save the situation? Are we still having that conversation, or should we be talking about the health of the organization? If we look at the various regional conferences, Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, West Rand, Citibank, and Tshwane, how were those conferences held, and what does that tell us about the way in which the organization is conducting itself, and possibly it being able then to lead this province to better service delivery and better lives for the citizens of Gauteng?
Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you very much for contextualizing that for us. And that, in essence, is what has been the promise from the leaders of the ANC in Gauteng, that conference is not going to be about people being elected into positions. It's about debating the state of politics in the country, debating the state of the province that they so want to lead.